Hey everyone, welcome back, or if you're just joining us, welcome to KSSP Podcast. I'm Spencer,
I'm Katie.
and in this episode, our part of our series on nutrition, we're going to be talking about supplements. And as always, as we've been mentioning, anytime that you are considering taking supplements, you are going to want to be in contact with a healthcare professional and or nutritionist when making that decision.
So before we get into some different supplements, I did just want to address some problems within the supplement industry. So many supplements covered by the DSHEA, which was intended to meet the concerns of consumers and manufacturers to help ensure that products are safe and properly labeled, and this includes dietary supplements. But these supplements are still drugs despite their classification, and this is because they can affect the body similar to how prescription drugs do. Some of them can, and we should be regulating all of our drugs with the same strict scrutiny. Unlike drugs recognized as such by the FDA, manufacturers of supplements don't have to show any evidence that their products work. They are required to put the following statement on their labels. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. And yet they're often advertised to do exactly that. So according to many scientific studies, many supplements don't actually work. And if they do work, they still have risks as well as benefits, even if taken exactly as directed. Yet supplements are not required to show that they are safe or effective. Manufacturers of these supplements don't have to tell the FDA about any issues that their products may have, unlike drugs that are regulated by the FDA. It is the responsibility of regulators to show that these products aren't safe. So basically, supplements are very loosely regulated, and it's important to do your research on the manufacturer before starting any supplements.
So we are going to talk about a few supplements today, but again, just keep all that in mind as we go over this. So first we're going to be talking about mushrooms. With that, I have a little article here. This is also from Department of Defense Dietary Supplement Resource Operation Supplement Safety, and it is mushrooms and dietary supplements. So mushrooms are a type of fungus grown worldwide and are rich in vitamins, minerals, fiber, antioxidants, and protein. Many different types of mushrooms are found on dietary supplement labels, but most common that you will see are Reishi, Shiitake, Cordyceps sinensis, Maitake, Cordyceps militaris, lion's mane, chaga, and turkey tail. Regardless of what type they contain, mushroom supplements are marketed for numerous health benefits. Some claims are general, such as promising vitality and immune health. Others are more specific, such as promoting healthy cellular function, enhancing cognitive performance, controlling blood sugar levels, aiding digestion, and supporting a healthy inflammatory response by the liver. Mushrooms used in dietary supplements are marketed for those numerous health benefits, but there isn't enough scientific evidence to support their safety or use for any specific purpose except as food. When they are used in supplements, they are often in the form of powder or extract. The fruiting body, often mentioned on labels, is the part usually visible above ground, the part you would typically eat as food. The mycelium, also sometimes mentioned on labels, is the root of the mushroom. It can be grown more quickly and easily than the fruiting body. They both contain beneficial chemical components, polysaccharides, glucans, terpenes, etc. However, it remains unclear if mushrooms in the form of dietary supplements deliver the same components or biological effects as when eating mushrooms as food. Mushroom extracts and powders can be produced in a variety of ways. Generally, extracts can be made by boiling fruiting bodies in hot water or alcohol. Powders can be made by grinding up the dried mycelium or fruiting body. The different processing methods and various growing conditions, such as if they were grown in log, sawdust, liquid, etc., make it difficult to control and standardize the chemical makeup of these mushroom-based ingredients, which can potentially compromise both quality and consistency among batches and products. So, are they safe or effective? Generally, mushrooms as a food are safe to consume, but some types can be poisonous. Consuming toxic mushrooms can result in severe side effects such as nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, liver failure, and in some cases, death. Dietary supplement products shouldn't contain poisonous mushrooms, but without laboratory testing, it is difficult to know for sure. Currently, there isn't enough reliable information available to support the safety, effectiveness, or appropriate use of dietary supplements that contain non-toxic mushrooms. Some dietary supplement labels with mushroom ingredients carry warning statements such as avoid using if you're pregnant, breastfeeding, or anticipate surgery. Side effects reported from using such products include nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, dizziness, skin sensitivity, headache, GI discomfort, and allergic reactions. And are mushrooms prohibited for use? Mushrooms suitable for use as food or dietary supplement ingredients are not prohibited for use by military service members. However, some mushrooms contain the controlled substance psilocybin. In addition, magic mushroom products can contain other plant-based hallucinogens and might not even contain mushrooms. So basically just if you're in the military, obviously you can't use because it's classified as a illegal substance anyway. So, but other mushrooms we'll be talking about, and we've talked about psilocybin before too, so we're not going to be talking about that one today. But then we're going to talk here about Reishi. This is from the NIH Medline Plus, and we're just going to say it. So Reishi mushroom is a bitter tasting fungus with no proven health benefits. It is thought to have some effects on the immune system. It is used for Alzheimer's disease, cancer, diabetes, cold sores, and many other conditions, but there's no scientific evidence to support these uses. So it is possibly ineffective for high levels of cholesterol or other lipids in the blood. Taking reishi mushroom by mouth doesn't seem to lower cholesterol levels in people with diabetes or high cholesterol. Is it safe? Reishi mushroom is possibly safe when used for up to 1 year. Powdered whole reishi mushroom is possibly safe when used for up to 16 weeks. It can cause dizziness, dry mouth, itching, nausea, stomach upset, and rash. Special precautions are for pregnancy and breastfeeding. There's not enough reliable information to know if it is safe to use when pregnant or breastfeeding, so stay on the safe side and avoid use. For bleeding disorders, high doses of reishi mushroom might increase the risk of bleeding in some people with certain bleeding disorders. And then surgery, high doses might increase the risk of bleeding if someone is about to go into surgery. So they recommend stopping if you are taking reishi mushroom supplements or coffee, tea, whatever it is, to stop at least 2 weeks before scheduled surgery. And then are there interactions with medications? So anti-diabetes drugs, reishi mushrooms might lower blood sugar levels. So taking reishi mushroom along with diabetes might cause blood sugar to drop too low. So you'll just want to make sure, as you should be, that you're anyways, but just monitoring your blood sugar closely. Anti-hypertensive drugs. So reishi mushroom might lower blood pressure. So if you're taking an antihypertensive or blood pressure lowering medication and taking this supplement, it might lower your blood pressure too much. So again, just keep a very close eye on your blood pressure. And then anticoagulant or antiplatelet drugs. So again, this might cause bleeding, leading to slow blood clotting. So if you're taking this supplement with medications that also slow blood clotting, you might increase the risk of bruising and bleeding. And there's no known interactions with foods. It's typically used, so it's most often been used by adults in doses of 1,400 to 5,400 milligrams by mouth daily, usually in divided doses. And it has also been used in lower doses. So as always, speak with a healthcare provider to find out if what dose may be effective for you, but also just so that they are aware of what you are, and then they can look into like what other medications you are potentially taking to make sure that if you shouldn't take it, that you don't take it.
Okay, and then, so with lion's mane, It's among all culinary mushrooms. It is Hericium erinaceus, most commonly known as lion's mane, and it has been widely reported to have therapeutic activities related to promotion of nerve and brain health. So different compounds isolated from this mushroom, including the expression of neurotropic factors such as nerve growth factors, have been actively studied and reported. Hericenoids were typically found in the fruiting bodies, while erinacines were derived from the mycelia of the mushroom. A previous double-blinded clinical study has shown that oral administration of herinaceous fruiting body was effective in improving mild cognitive impairment in 50 to 80-year-old Japanese patients.
And then we'll go a little more in depth on cordyceps. So cordyceps is the composite of a genus of fungus that grows on the larvae of insects, C. sinensis, known as Dongzhongxiao, winter worm, summer grass in Chinese, is one of the most famous traditional Chinese medicines and medicinal mushrooms. In China, cordyceps is used to restore health after various diseases and to hasten recovery from exhaustion because of its adaptogenic, anti-stress, properties and ability to enhance endurance and strength. There have been some studies that have shown that cordyceps has anti-tumor activity in various cancers through several pathways. Both natural and cultured cordyceps have demonstrated anti-tumor effects. There are several mechanisms that they think contribute to the anti-tumor effect, such as direct cytotoxicity, immunopotentiation, apoptosis, selective inhibition of ribonucleic acid or RNA, and protein synthesis, as well as antioxidant, anti-angiogenic, anti-mutagenic, anti-metastatic, and antiviral activities. Increasing evidence shows that cordyceps is a bidirectional modulator with both potentiating and suppressive effects on the immune system through regulating innate and adaptive immunity. Natural C. sinensis has a long history of use in the treatment of respiratory infections and cancer. It has been postulated that the responsible mechanism is related to immune activation, particularly the promotion of innate immunity. Due to its inhibitory effect on the immune system, cordyceps can potentially be used for treatment of autoimmune diseases and for immunosuppression after organ transplant. In summary, there are studies that reveal it has effects on both innate immunity and adaptive immunity. Furthermore, cordyceps also has a modulatory effect on gut immune system, which may further influence systemic immune function. There is increasing evidence that it has antioxidant activity, which may be one of the mechanisms behind the anti-aging, anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, anti-atherosclerosis, and immunomodulatory effects of cordyceps. And then with glucose, so cordyceps has hypoglycemic activity in normal animals. The oral administration of a cordyceps carbohydrate extract at 2 grams per kilogram per day for 25 days increased insulin sensitivity, and the extract had potential beneficial effects by maintaining whole body glucose disposal with a less pronounced increase in insulin secretion after a carbohydrate challenge in rats. In another study, normal rats fed with that same extract at 250 or 500 milligrams per kilogram per day for 17 days showed significant decreases in fasting blood glucose level by 27% and 24% respectively, and the fasting plasma insulin of rats in the 500 milligram per kilogram group decreased by 37%. Furthermore, oral glucose tolerance tests demonstrated that the extract significantly improved glucose tolerance at 0.5, 1, and 2 hours after ingestion of glucose. Cordyceps is also showed an anti-hyperglycemic effect in diabetic animals, although fruiting bodies of natural C. sinensis had no effect on the fasting insulin level in diabetic rats. It improved the weight and attenuated water intake, fasting blood glucose level, and serum concentration of fructosamine in diabetic rats. Therefore, the fermented products of cordyceps can be developed as potential anti-diabetic agents or functional foods for persons with high risk of diabetes mellitus. And then supercritical fluid extract, other than hot water extract, of the cordyceps has shown significant antidepressant-like activity. And then just with cordyceps, I want just to make sure that, just as we mentioned, it's hard with supplements to know if what they're saying they're giving you is what they're actually giving you, because it's not regulated. And a lot of these studies are done, like when I was reading the paper, it was saying that it's hard to get the actual part that they have been doing the studies with. So we get more of a different part of the plant that hasn't been studied as much. But I do still think it is important that we study like these natural supplements, I guess. But buying them online, maybe won't experience some of these just because it might not be exactly what they say it is, and the dosages are going to be probably different too. So just by saying this doesn't mean that all this is going to happen for you, I guess.
Yeah.
Either. And it's always, like we say, just important to be safe when considering supplements anyway. So
yes, definitely. And then next, we're going to talk about antioxidants. So natural antioxidants like dietary polyphenols could be used in combating ADHD, helping to alleviate oxidative stress on the brain. People with ADHD are at a greater risk of oxidative stress in brain tissue. This can lead to damaged brain cells and altered neurotransmitter levels at electrical center transmission. Polyphenols are chemical weight lifters for the body's immune response. They act as low-dose toxins that train the body to mount an immune response in a process called hormesis. And they influence the survival and regeneration of neurons.
And then with antioxidants, we'll talk about spices. Spices have been shown to have the most antioxidant benefits. So we'll go over a couple here. We'll talk about saffron. So saffron supplementation has been found by researchers to significantly reduce depression symptoms compared to placebo. A study done in 2017 demonstrated that 15 milligrams of saffron was as effective as 20 milligrams of Prozac in decreasing depressive symptoms. Precise mechanism of action is unknown. In animals, it has been shown to increase levels of the good mood neurotransmitters, glutamate and dopamine. And then we'll talk about turmeric. So the active ingredient in turmeric is called curcumin. Curcumin was significantly more effective than placebo in reducing depressive symptoms. It adjusts the brain chemistry and protects brain cells against toxic damage that leads to depression. Effective dose has been shown to be 500 to 1,000 milligrams per day. And then I have just a little article here from NIH, National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health, health info on turmeric. So we'll just talk about what have we learned. So turmeric and curcumin have a variety of interesting biological activities, but they're challenging to study because curcumin is unstable. It easily changes into other substances and has low bioavailability. Not much of it reaches the bloodstream when it's taken orally. In addition, the products may differ in composition or contain more substances than expected, which makes the results of research on these products difficult to understand and compare. Because the actions of turmeric and its components in people are complex and not well understood, no clear conclusions have been reached about whether these substances have benefits for health conditions. And what do we know about safety? Well, turmeric and conventionally formulated curcumin products are probably safe when taken orally or applied to the skin in the recommended amounts. Efforts have been made to develop the products with increased bioavailability, and many modified products are already on the market. Improving bioavailability might lead to an increase in harmful effects as well as desirable ones. So turmeric may be unsafe for use during pregnancy in amounts greater than those commonly found in food. Little is known about whether it is safe to use in amounts greater than those commonly found in food while breastfeeding. And then we'll talk about oregano. So carvacrol, which is an active ingredient in oregano, was found to have antidepressant activity in mice. Researchers have also connected carvacrol with neuroprotective and antidepressant effects in animals, although to date there are no such studies in humans. And then we just have a Medline Plus here on oregano, which just kind of goes over what it is, which it's a herb used to flavor foods. So how effective is it? There is interest in using oregano for a number of purposes, but as with most of these, there isn't enough reliable information to say whether it might be helpful. And is it safe? Oregano leaf and oregano oil are likely safe when eaten in foods. There isn't enough reliable information to know if it is safe to use in amounts greater than those found in food. Mild side effects include stomach upset. For pregnancy, oregano is possibly unsafe when taken by mouth in medicinal amounts during pregnancy. There is concern that taking oregano in amounts larger than food amounts might cause miscarriage. So stay on the safe side and stick to food amounts. Breastfeeding, there isn't enough reliable information to know if large amounts of oregano are safe to use when breastfeeding. So again, just stay on the safe side and stick to food amounts. Allergies, oregano can cause reactions in people allergic to Lamiaceae family plants, including basil, hyssop, lavender, mahoram, mint, and sage. And then surgery, large doses might increase the risk of bleeding. So again, just if you're using oregano, you should stop taking it 2 weeks before surgery. Medication effects for anti-diabetes drugs, oregano might lower blood sugar levels. So again, just make sure to be watching your blood sugar closely. And the anticoagulant/antiplatelet drugs, since it might slow blood clotting, it may increase the risk of bruising and bleeding. And then interactions with herbs and supplements. So copper, oregano might decrease the absorption of copper in the body, but it isn't clear if this is a big concern. Iron, oregano might decrease the absorption of iron, but again, unsure if it's a big concern. And then zinc, it might decrease the absorption of zinc in the body, but again, unclear if it's a big concern. There's no known interactions with foods, and it is usually eaten in foods.
Okay, so next we'll talk about tryptophan. Tryptophan is an amino acid. It is the precursor of serotonin. And some of its effects, so in animal studies, tryptophan reaches brain regions that can increase or decrease anxiety. It increases blood and brain serotonin and melatonin. In humans, taking a supplement of purified TRP will increase brain serotonin. A study found that participants consuming higher levels of tryptophan had significantly less depression, irritability, and anxiety. But a different study showed that after just 15 days, purified TRP made participants, especially men, more agreeable and helped them feel better. And then diet. Although purified TRP increases brain serotonin, foods containing TRP do not. So tryptophan is actually the least abundant amino acid in protein, and it's carried into the brain by a transport system that prioritizes other amino acids. And there is some evidence out there that suggests that eating carbohydrates along with protein can increase the tryptophan available to the brain. And then talking about the safety of it, so supplements like tryptophan should only be taken under the supervision of the doctor. And in Canada, it's actually regulated as a medication. And you definitely want to keep the risk of serotonin syndrome in mind as well, because L-tryptophan can interfere with many different medicines. And you don't want to take L-tryptophan if you're on antidepressants or selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, or MAO inhibitors, tricyclic antidepressants, and atypical antidepressants. Doing so can lead to a life-threatening condition called serotonin syndrome.
And then we'll talk about melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone produced naturally in the brain that regulates the body's circadian rhythms. It can help some people fall asleep. It can be useful for some people with jet lag, and it may help some people suffering with seasonal depression by regulating sleep cycles. And then I just have a couple. So this this is melatonin, what you need to know from NIH. So we already so melatonin is a hormone that your brain produces in response to darkness. It helps, like we mentioned, with the timing of your circadian rhythm. Research suggests that melatonin plays other important roles in the body beyond sleep. However, these effects are not fully understood. Melatonin dietary supplements can be made from animals or microorganisms, but most often they're made synthetically. So with jet lag, we'll just see here, 4 studies that included a total of 142 travelers showed that melatonin may be better than placebo in reducing overall symptoms. Another study of 234 travelers found low quality evidence that it may be better than placebo. So there's evidence that it may help with jet lag, delayed sleep-wake phase disorder. So people with delayed sleep-wake phase disorder have trouble falling asleep at the usual times and waking up in the morning, typically have trouble falling asleep before 2 to 6 a.m. and would prefer to wake up between 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Melatonin supplements appear to help with sleep in people with DSWPD, but it's uncertain whether the benefits outweigh the possible harms. So in 2015, the American Academy of Sleep Medicine recommended melatonin supplements given at specific times for DSWPD. The recommendation was a weak one, and it came with uncertainty about whether the benefits outweigh its potential harms. There was a 2016 review that looked at a small number of people, 52, from 2 studies, and that showed that melatonin supplements reduced the time it took for people with DSWPD to fall asleep when compared to placebo. On average, it took about 22 minutes less for them to fall asleep. And then a 2018 randomized controlled trial that lasted 4 weeks and had 307 people with DSWPD found that taking melatonin 1 hour before the desired bedtime combined with going to bed at a set time led to several improvements. Those improvements included falling asleep an average of 34 minutes earlier, better sleep during the first third of the night, and better daytime functioning. And then there's a section here saying, is melatonin helpful for preventing or treating COVID-19? So I guess there's current research looking at the effects of melatonin on COVID-19 is in its early stages. There are a few randomized controlled trials. At this point, it is too soon to reach conclusions on whether it is helpful for COVID-19. Does melatonin help with cancer symptoms? Studies of melatonin on cancer symptoms or treatment-related side effects have been small and have had mixed results. Can it help with insomnia? Well, people with insomnia have trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, or both. When symptoms last a month or longer, it's called chronic insomnia. According to practice guidelines, there's not enough strong evidence on the effectiveness or safety of melatonin supplementation for chronic insomnia to recommend its use. What about for shift workers? Well, so shift work is a work that involves night shifts, may cause people to feel sleepy at work and make it difficult to sleep during the daytime. According to 2 2014 research reviews, studies on whether melatonin supplements help were generally small or inconclusive. And is it safe to take melatonin? So for melatonin, particularly at doses higher than what the body normally produces, there's not enough information yet about possible side effects to have a clear picture of overall safety. Short-term use appears to be safe for most people, but information on long-term safety with melatonin is lacking. So you also want to keep in mind interactions with medicines. As with all dietary supplements, people who are taking medicine should consult their healthcare providers before using melatonin. In particular, people with epilepsy and those taking blood thinner medications need to be under medical supervision when taking melatonin supplements. There's possible allergic reaction risk. Safety concerns for pregnant and breastfeeding. There's been lack of research on safety with use in pregnant or breastfeeding women. Concerns for elderly. 2015 guidelines by American Academy of Sleep recommended against melatonin used by people with dementia, and melatonin may stay active in older people longer than in younger people and cause daytime drowsiness. And yes, that was, let me see. So what are the side effects of melatonin? So you could experience headache, dizziness, nausea, or sleepiness, and the possible long-term side effects are unclear. And so if just some tips. Remember that even though the FDA regulates dietary supplements such as melatonin, the regulations for dietary supplements are different and less strict than those for prescription or over-the-counter drugs. Some dietary supplements may interact with medicines. If you're pregnant or nursing, it's especially important to see your healthcare provider before taking any medicine or supplement, including melatonin. You should always read and follow label instructions because natural does not always mean safe. And then take charge of your health. So just talk to a healthcare provider about any complementary health approaches you consider using.
All right, we're going to talk about diet next. So with antioxidants, the richest sources of polyphenols are berries, cherries, eggplant, onions, kale, coffee, and green tea. And then cloves, star anise, cocoa powder, natural and non-alkalized, Mexican oregano, dark chocolate, chestnuts, and flaxseed meal are good as well. And then black and green tea, blackberries, muscadine, grape seeds, apple cider vinegar, cinnamon, and superfruits such as the marquee berry may also help to decrease inflammation. And then with spices, you could add saffron to vegetable and rice dishes, and you can make a few dishes with a teaspoon or two of turmeric a day. That's a potential solution. And you can add a touch of turmeric to your soups and stews, or even add it to a smoothie. You can make a hot tea with it, or add a pinch to your salad dressing. Piperine, a constituent food found in black pepper, increases the absorption and bioavailability of curcumin by 2,000%. So you can add some freshly ground pepper too.
And then for natural food sources of tryptophan, you can eat chickpeas. And as we mentioned, you'll want to have carbohydrates with that to help with absorption. So you can make it into a hummus and combine that with wheat bread, pita bread, if you want. Some other examples that have some tryptophan are cereals with milk, peanut butter on whole grain toast, cheese and whole wheat crackers, pumpkin and squash seeds, roasted soybeans, or cooked tuna. And then for melatonin, could be food sources include eggs, fish, milk, rice, other grains like barley, rolled oats, fruits like grapes and pomegranates, nuts, especially pistachios and walnuts, seeds, so that could be sunflower seeds, mustard seeds, flax seeds, and a variety of vegetables. So asparagus, tomatoes, broccoli, and cucumber. So that was our part on supplements. And as always, you can leave a comment below if you have any topic ideas you want us to go over in future episodes.
You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We also occasionally live stream on Twitch. You can follow us there to see when we do.
And don't forget to give this video a like, as well as follow or subscribe to our other social media accounts and turn on notifications so that you get notified when our new content comes out. Otherwise, we will see you all in the next video.